Hello, we're glad you're still glued here on Morning at NTV. Many thanks for choosing NTV's quality programming wherever you are. We're now heading into the press preview where we look at how the papers are carrying the day's top stories. Let me throw these to Priscilla, Regina and Aloga to get us underway with this particular onslaught.
Good morning to you and thank you so much for being with us. Daily Monitor this morning gives us a very interesting and peculiar topic to discuss. Makerere at 100 years, and I believe that Audrey perhaps, kissed the streets of Makerere at one point in life. But it gets to show you how Museveni bans all roadblocks. No checkpoints, please. The president has asked the Prime Minister, Robin Nabanja, to ensure that the barricades that are fertile ground for corruption are removed with immediate effect. So do you want to mention those roadblocks to you that have been nonsensical and have caused people to actually lose their lives and lose their property? I'll mention one for you, Chengera roadblock on Masaka Road. Yes, that one has actually been causing a lot of security havoc. When was the last time you were on Masaka Road? You of Najera Chanja. You don't have any roadblocks, by the way.
No, there are roadblocks.
Really?
It's about on all the roads, especially those that come into the city, and those that help us make our way out of the city. But I think the development is good because it will allow for a little bit of a smooth flow of traffic, but most importantly, reduce on the extortion. Yeah, because when the roadblocks are there are a lot of things that go on there, both the scripted and the non-scripted. And in between there...
Really, at night, is there any that is scripted?
In between there are transactions. Yeah, transactions can be done. But of course, before anybody wonders why there is a
distinguished man
who stands 6'4" on the ground.
I wish we could have a standing competition between you and him. Who's taller?
No.
Really?
I think I'm taller.
What do you want to do to my paycheck?
To increase it.
Of course, very shortly, Jackson Onyango will be helping us understand the dynamics around the EACOP saga, fracas, and everything that is going on. We were on the back foot when the European Union decided that we should stop rather the construction of the major oil project pipeline. But some bit of fighting has been going on. Very shortly, he will be giving us perspective on that. But just to engage him on, have you encountered any roadblocks anywhere as you came to work or in any
popular
other
ones?
Of course, from my area here in Kampala, we do not.
Your area is Kampala, the whole of it?
I'm saying from my area in
Which
Kampala.
area is that?
You want me to mention that? I'm security conscious.
Security
anyway,
conscious. All right.
We from the east, I think one of the major roadblocks is around Ginger area. That is after Kakira. And of course, this also will throw us into controversy because some of these security checks were put up because of, trying to control the speed of motorists. Most especially those points where buses have to stop.
That's right.
Where they have to verify the time where they left, because they're supposed to cover a certain distance within certain time.
That's right.
And that's why those roadblocks were certainly put there. So in this case, I do not know what the president is talking about.
No, he's not talking about all roadblocks. He's talking about those that have been fertile ground for corruption.
But,
and those are usually in the city center.
I don't know how you're going to specify which is a fertile ground and which one is not. So long as there is any roadblock, take for example Karamoja. The roadblocks were put there because you had an issue of cattle rustling. And therefore it is the president himself who said that these roadblocks should be put there. Now, if you are saying you should do away with the roadblocks because they are fertile ground for, corruption, then possibly you are trying to say the Karamojongs should go back to their...
This raises a good question, Chris. Is this how to fight corruption? Do away with the roadblock instead of the people that are corrupt?
There are so many ways you can fight corruption. Let's try to fight corruption in our own way right here. A resolution that was passed by the European Parliament for the proposed East African crude pipeline, or EACOP, has created uproar here in Uganda over human rights and environmental concerns. Passed on the 14th of September, it wants to compel Uganda and Tanzania, as well as lead implementer TotalEnergies SE, to delay development of the EACOP project for at least a year. The project and the European Union decision has split opinion in Uganda and seen different demonstrations, including protests, as different groups, including students, say the proposed 1,443-kilometer heated pipeline is good for Uganda and should not be stopped. It's the main crux of Uganda's oil project, but environmentalists are concerned. TotalEnergies owns 62% of the pipeline, with construction is estimated to cost a staggering $4 billion. $4 billion, I should emphasize, dollars. Jackson Onyango has been covering these issues and is here to help us understand where we are now and whether the European Union could be on the back foot. Thanks for joining us officially. We've had an interaction, of course, but regarding the EACOP project, first bring us up to speed. Where are we?
Okay, of course, like you have said, on the 14th of September, the European Union Parliament did discuss, and of course they came out with a resolution. That's right. Regarding this mega project in East Africa, where of course our heads of state but also nationals view it as something that will transform our economies. This resolution particularly was hinged on human rights, but also environmental conservation, whereby the legislators there think that this is going to increase on the carbon footprint in this area. And we know currently the world is trying to fight climate change. That's right. We have experienced disasters ourselves in terms of, if you're talking of droughts, you are talking of floods. We have experienced this. But if you are to ask me whether this is going to impact on the increase on the carbon footprint here, that is another subject of debate. But in their view, they say this will impact greatly on the Great Lakes region. You know, in other words,
it won't impact as profoundly as they want us to believe.
Exactly. So, and the other issue was about human rights. Now, of course, when we heard of it at first, them talking about human rights, you would think of what people have said are abductions or the arbitrary arrest of people during the political season. That's what came to mind at first, but that's not it. They are actually talking about, for example, compensation of the project-affected persons. That's right. They are saying this has not been done rightly by TotalEnergies, which is the major shareholder in this project, following international laws. And what they exactly mean in this, that there is a proper amount that is supposed to be given, for example, to the project-affected person. So let's say it is you have your piece of land somewhere, and after evaluation by either government or private stakeholders, it is estimated that you should get at least 20 million shillings. That's right. What they are trying to say that possibly you are going to get 10 million shillings, which cannot enable you to purchase a piece of land elsewhere. And therefore, and then in some places, people have not been paid. And we are talking about tens of thousands of people who have been impacted. Of course, from the government side, the argument is that they are working on this and everything is being done as it is required to be done. So these are subjects of arguments. Of course, we had it coming to the floor of Parliament, where the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, introduced this subject matter to the members of Parliament, and they were concerned that this is neo-colonialism, this is imperialism that they are trying to push forward. So, and of course, talking about arrests, like I told you, on human rights, they point at the civil society organizations, some of which were closed by the government. But of course, we are also aware the closure of some of the 54 non-government organizations were at a time when we're in the political season. So whether that is related to the oil and gas sector, it is another issue that we can be discussed. So arbitrary arrest of the civil activists, journalists being beaten, you have families, all these allegations that I cannot confirm at the moment.
All right, you have talked about the flow of the parliament, and we've had different members of parliament having different views about it. Honorable Senoga has actually come out to rightly say they do have a point they make in between the lines, much as it overlooks like neo-colonialism and an extension of the British arm into Uganda's business. But then at the end of the day, if we were to go down to the nitty-gritties, they do raise some concerns that we shouldn't, you know, close our eyes to. We must pay attention to. And so if we're going to pay attention to them on the floor of parliament, what have been the recommendations moving forward? Because I know they all agree we can't stop in the name of that recommendation, but then again, how do they intend to move forward legislatively?
Of course, Ugandan parliament, just as the European parliament, what they do is recommendation. You know, if you are icked by a matter, you raise your voice over it, and then it is the executive to go ahead whether to implement your recommendations or not to do so. So the voices have been heard from Parliament. And of course, when that matter was raised on the floor by the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Tayebwa, what government came out to say, the government representative, that was the minister from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, indicated that the resolutions of Parliament, what they had said, actually this was just a matter of national interest. There was no concrete resolution made by Parliament that this should be this, but the voices were heard that they are concerned. And of course, also this matter was misconstrued to be treated as Uganda and Tanzania and TotalEnergies and Sinuk are being told to halt the project. That is not the case. What the European Union Parliament or the politicians there were saying is that, you know, you have not taken care of these matters, environmental conservation, human rights, and so on. So can you pause it for 1 year as you work on these issues, and then maybe you can proceed with the project. Now, many, of course, we have seen students, we have seen other activists and politicians come out saying, you know, you are stopping this project, you cannot stop it, it is about our lives, and so on. But like you have rightly said, you know, okay, what my view is the project can be implemented as they take care of these concerns.
Okay, there's another concern that the public has had. National Unity Platform is actually priding in having influenced the European Parliament to come up with this resolution. I don't know if the members of Parliament that are NUP actually concur with this strategy that NUP is using to quote-unquote remove the dictator, separating politics and the resources that we have to enjoy as Ugandans.
When this matter came on the floor of Parliament, what I can say, majority, or if not unanimously, they were against the resolution. So, of course, you had a new National Unity Platform president, that is Honorable Chagulanyi, saying that, you know, okay, this is good for us, we're going to remove dictator and so on. But you see, removing a dictator, why people do not agree, members of Parliament do not agree with that, is that this is about the livelihood of the people who for many years have been in poverty. But if we're talking specifically about the people in Bunyoro, they have been waiting since 2006. Many of us thought that, you know, from when the commercial, the 6.8 billion barrels of oil were confirmed that, you know, finally we have commercial oil, we can go commercial, people thought next year we are going to start earning. Therefore, from then, you know, this project, there were litigations under the way, you know, disagreements on licensing. And so people have been waiting for all these years. So finally, people have hope that, you know, okay, this thing 2025, we have been told we are going to start earning our money. So you'll have many of the people here, all legislators, not agreeing with the National Unity Platform.
All right.
Whether they are taking the right course.
Allow me a focus on the reportage of this saga and the developments within the Albertan region with regard to oil. The media's role in ensuring that information flow is first and foremost prompt but also accurate. When, for example, the population misunderstands this as a decision to halt the development and not to give it time so that matters that are important are addressed, it comes down as a rather bad sport for the media. How best are we doing in terms of covering oil, stories around oil, and ensuring that this information is out there as readily and promptly as possible?
You know, as a practice in the media industry, one of them is that you come up with stories.
Yep.
You pitch on issues that are affecting communities, people, and of course, everybody. But the other, you cover what unfolds. In this case, you had European Union Parliament take a decision.
Yep.
We covered that, you know, we told the population, this is what is happening, this is what we have been told. Now, how that message is understood, we cannot enforce it on anyone. We come out with a message, you know, it is about suspend the project for 1 year as you deal with this, you address these concerns. If somebody understands that as halt it, that is a different matter altogether. But what I know, since this issue came up, the media has been trying to project and the voices of different people.
That's right.
For example, the media has talked to the professional environmentalists, the association that is NAPE, and they have raised all these matters. You know, they have seen whether you are talking of print or broadcast, these voices coming out, and you know, they were saying, okay, over time we have been telling government to address these issues. You know, this oil project is in a tourism area that we are talking of Marshall National Park, we are talking of Lake Albert, and so on. So this is going to affect people. We have been telling government to do ABCD. Then we have also heard from government. For example, if you are talking of the NEMA, they have also come out and said, you know, this is not something we did by accident. All from 2006, we have been carrying out feasibility studies. We have been ensuring which one is the appropriate area. So you can, as a media, I think we have tried to project the message there, and it is up to the public now to decide on what is good and what is wrong. Any
last words as we transition? Priscilla has
the rig components are here, and that's almost done and ready for setup. I think that's an exciting news to give the Ugandans out there the picture that the project is actually kick-starting. Now, in regards to any other nitty-gritties that are in line and are actually underway for the project to kickstart, is there any update?
Yeah, of course, this project has timelines. And since the government signed the final investment decision with the partners, that is TotalEnergies and Sunuk from China, the deadline is 2025 that they envisage that we should have this oil. Of course, the pipeline is being constructed from Lake Albert to Tanga in Tanzania, covering 1,400 kilometers. Majority of it is in Tanzania, and therefore it means that Tanzanians in this phase are going to benefit a little bit more than Ugandans. So my view is, yes, we do not need to bar anybody from expressing their opinions. Possibly they are saying something that we should deal with. We do not want to come out one time and then we are regretting about our actions. So maybe we need to reflect as people, but also government need to reflect on these issues, address them, but the project should not be suspended. This thing can be done
concurrently.
Exactly. So, because at the end of the day, you are looking at, like they have said, if it is not about imperialism, this is the time for East Africa to also come out and maybe we have a share of this product.
Okay, finally, the transition from fossil fuels to more efficient energies. Is it even possible that we can get on board with what appears to be a global wave?
It is possible, it is impossible.
Take us through
because you see, if you are looking at like Kira Evo Motors, who is trying to transition us into that. But if you ask how many people can purchase electrical vehicles, possibly very few. So it is going to take a long time for us to transition to that in terms of transport. If you are talking, I was reading an article, a very beautiful article written by a lady about, let's say, solar energy. She was saying that, you know, how many homes, okay, government has tried to subsidize the cost of solar panels and batteries. That's right. But still, it remains expensive. She was actually indicating that if you want to generate just 1 unit from solar power, you will need about 20 million shillings. Just 1 unit. Just 1 unit. So I don't know how many units you spend in your home. Because what we are talking about, lighting, people are using micro units in a day. And then she was saying, okay, these simple solar energies that we use in our homes, you cannot use it for ironing, you cannot use it for cooking, because it is just simple mechanism. You get it? So if you are going for that, it means still you'll need electricity and you may need still to depend on oil. So this is long term. Of course, for them, if you're talking of for the West, USA, UK, and European Union generally, they are a step ahead of us. I mean, even where we are today,
steps ahead,
steps ahead. Where we are today. They were there some 100 years ago. So we still have a long journey to cover.
All right, thank you very much, Jackson Onyango, a senior reporter with Nation Media Group, for the perspectives and, of course, insight into what has become a very contentious issue pitting the Ugandan government and the European Union. That will do it for this segment, postscript and a press review combined. We hope it has been emboldening, especially with regard to information and the dynamics that are at play in the oil industry. We'll take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.